All right, guys, welcome back to section 4, but why you, right? The genuinity complex. And this is actually an incredibly important question that's actually not completely obvious until you kind of experience it again and again. But in my onboarding fulfillment email, right, whenever somebody purchases one of my products, they get a fulfillment email that gives them, how to access the course, how to join the private group, and kind of answers all of their questions preemptively. With that email, which I'm going to share with you guys exactly, actually, and teach you how to implement. With that email, I ask why each person who buys my program bought from me instead of one of my competitors, and where they heard about me, right? So it's incredibly valuable data. And don't worry, because I will include it in the exact template I share with you guys later on. About 1% of people who answer that question say they bought simply because they wanted to learn about Amazon or Shopify or Facebook course or Facebook ads or digital course creation. About 99%, or probably more, like 99.9% of people say they bought because I seemed genuine, passionate, and they could relate to my story about feeling trapped in a 9-to-5 job, and I gave them so much information for free, they felt like they had to buy, right? One of those things. I seemed genuine, passionate, they could relate to my story, or I gave them so much information for free, they felt like they had to buy my course, right? And I'm gonna say that one more time. I seemed genuine, I seemed passionate, they could relate to my story, or I gave them so much free information they felt like they had to buy, right? It's so important. So read it a couple more times if you want. Because once you understand that those are the reasons people buy, then you can really start to kind of focus how you present yourself and the information that you kind of portray and the stories you tell and things like that. Because facts tell, stories sell, right? So how do you become the person who somebody wants to buy from? Well, before someone's going to buy from you, 3 things need to happen. They have to feel like they know you. They have to feel like they like you, right, and feel like you're genuine. And they have to feel like they trust you and that you genuinely want to help them and that they're not just another dollar sign that's going to go into your bank account, right? And so some ways to help feel confident that you have the 3 things that people need to feel comfortable enough to buy from you is, have you already gotten results related to your specific topic for yourself or for others? Right? Whatever the topic that you want to create a course around, have you gotten results for yourself, or even better, much more important, have you gotten results for others, right? For beta testers, maybe for friends or family, for people that you allow to join the course early, or for people that you're helping for free, right, in your private group. And they don't necessarily need to be paying customers, right? It could be family or friends, or, you could be just helping people in your private group and seeing their results. Can you show results related to the topic that you want to teach about your course, right? Because having proven results, even from friends and family, right, or beta testers, or people that you're helping for free in your course, is so helpful, right? It's so helpful to get those 3 testimonials that we talked about as Facebook posts, similar to this one, and then 3, 1 minute or less video testimonials just shot on someone's cell phone, right? It's so incredibly helpful to have those. We're going to use them everywhere. So who are your ideal potential students for your course, right? Different people feel like they know you and can trust you in different ways, and understanding who your perfect customer avatar is important, right? If you're selling a course about Medicare or, insurance for seniors, you probably don't want to wear shirts like this, right? But you also want your online kind of presence to feel more professional, because people that are older, people that are generally just older, have different ideals about professionalism. They don't care if somebody's a young self-made multimillionaire. They'll just completely discount you if you're wearing a tank top versus wearing a suit. Or if you're selling a course on how to break dance or do graffiti, right, then your ideal student avatar is very different than somebody selling a Medicare course, right? Similarly, if you're selling a course on how to shoot guns versus how to be an empowered woman, right, you'd approach your customers differently, because your perfect customer avatar would be drastically different, right? There's someone named Garrett J. White who sells a course on how to be an empowered man in a relationship, like how to, when you've been married for a while, how to kind of reinvigorate your marriage and become an empowered man, right? So he speaks very specifically to his audience, right? His word choice is all toward men, right? He doesn't care about the 1% of women who's going to watch, because that's not his target market, right? His target market is a very specific age group of men, right? So how you present yourself and your course and your content, the words you use, examples you give, your personality, right? Even things like how you dress should be as closely fitting to your perfect customer as possible, right? So don't overthink this. Just be natural, but use your head, right? It's important. Take some time. And at first, right, it might seem like any and everybody in your course, like any students you can get, would be awesome. And at first, when you're first starting, it is awesome to get pretty much anyone. But this is actually not the case at all. You'll find that some students are way more effort than they're actually worth, right? And then they think that for $497 or $997 or whatever you charge for your course, these students think that you should just drop your whole life and become their personal butler, right? You will come across these people, but those aren't your target demographic, right? So when that happens, I simply refund those people and focus on my core customers. Focus on the people that I want in the program, people that are going to enable and make the community more passionate and more lively and more loving and more of a family, right? And people who are actually going to commit to being successful. And so to kind of avoid that, it's important to write kind of a 3 or 4 sentence paragraph telling yourself who is a perfect fit for your course, right? Just for yourself. And the same goes, for initial consultations. And as you do more and more and get more and more students, you're going to learn who is more effort than they're actually worth. And when you're first starting out, it's very difficult, right? Because you just want as many people as possible so you can learn more. And that's probably the way you should do it. But once you start to get, a few hundred people in your program, you'll start to realize who you want and who you don't. And as you start to put out YouTube content, as you start to, get involved with creating your Facebook group and things like that, you'll see what the percentage of men and women are and what their ages are, right? Facebook groups tells you this. YouTube analytics tells you this. And so you can really start to formulate that. I know from my personal experience that with Make Money Online offers, anything like that, it's generally about 80% men and 20% women. And so, I obviously cater a lot of my ads and things like that to the overwhelming dominantly men as the demographic, because those are the people that are primarily purchasing my course. So how are you actually removing friction and kind of preemptively removing all reasons not to buy from you? Right? So the first thing we talked about was cleaning up your personal Facebook profile, right? And also your business Facebook page. We're going to talk about how to actually make your business Facebook page right here inside of this section. You want them looking as professional and respectable and up to date as possible, right? No sketchy stuff, no random, pictures of a dog as your profile picture or anything like that. Remember, you're a brand now and you're a business now, and people make initial judgments based on what they see, right? If I was just starting out, I probably wouldn't wear this tank top in this particular video, right? Because people might judge me. But now that I have results and I've generated, tens of millions of dollars over the past 18 months, both for myself and more importantly for my students, right? I can have a little bit more luxury to do things that I want like that, right? But when you're first starting out, people make judgments, and you don't want to give people any reason not to buy from you, right? Because it's very easy putting on a nice shirt and taking a picture for your profile picture. The only reason you wouldn't do it is if you were too prideful or too lazy, right? And there's no reason to do either of those things. Because I'm a perfect example. I used to hate wearing a suit for my accounting job, but now I do wear a suit in some of my marketing because people make snap judgments, right? Instant judgments just based on clothes and what people look like and images and your demeanor, right? You want to be aware of that and you want to leverage it to your advantage, right? Doing anything else would be foolish. You'd just be wasting money on ads. If you can take one picture in a suit and one picture not in a suit, right? And the suit's going to make you more money for the same amount of work and same amount of ad spend, right? Then you want to do it because it's easy. You also want to add a bio to your personal Facebook page that summarizes what you do, right? We talked about this earlier. I have 3 programs, so mine's a little different. If I just had one, it would say the Amazon FBA Master, over 10,000 Amazon students have been successful. Are you next? Or something like that, right? Or I help your niche, right? I help Amazon students to leave their 9-to-5 jobs and pursue and create a full-time income selling on Amazon. Right? I help Amazon sellers create explosive businesses on autopilot because think about it like this. a guitar can create sound, right? But if it's not playing the right notes, then the people that are listening to that guitar aren't hearing music, right? So it's very important to know, that your message is resonating with your market. You want to make sure that you and your audience are on the same wavelength and your message is really striking a chord, right? Because your properly tuned message is insanely powerful and it's going to surprise you and your entire market. And in chapter 6, we're going to go into deep detail about how to actually run Facebook ads and how to run them on autopilot for your course and just basically put $1 in and get, $2, $3, $4, even $5 out. But we need a Facebook business page to run our ads from. So we're going to create a business Facebook page right now. It's where you run all of your ads. It's also if people are searching for your name as you start to get more and more popular in the market, they're going to look at your Facebook page. Right? And so what we want to do is we want to set up a Facebook page, and we're going to do it right now. We're going to choose business or brand. We're going to name this one, Kevin David Test, and I'm going to do entrepreneur. Right? And we're going to press continue. I normally just use like my company logo or like a professional looking photo of myself, right, for my profile picture, and like a relevant eye-catching image as my cover photo. But again, don't reinvent the wheel here, right? Find someone who's already been successful doing this and then emulate them, right? And we can look at my page right here. Oops, it's one of my older ones. So if we look at my page right here, we see, we can see exactly what we need to do. So I have a video here. If you don't have a video, just put a picture, right? Put like I help Amazon sellers create full-time incomes on Amazon. Are you next, right? And then like a picture of yourself right here. We got kind of fancy and made like a little teal circle around it. And this is one of the ones where I was on stage speaking. But when you're first starting, right, you can just put anything here. It doesn't have to be super fancy. Because if you're making a page for teaching e-commerce as your personal brand, right, use the Facebook bar, search e-commerce, and then look at the top brands, right? And look at the top things that appear. So let's just do that really quick, right? E-commerce. We're going to sort by pages right here. We can see, this guy has e-commerce empire, right? Let's see what he has. He's got a picture of himself, startup bros, you don't need a job. We help entrepreneurs launch businesses, right? So he's doing exactly what we talked about. We talked about we help entrepreneurs launch businesses, right? So it's very clear what they do here. Has a nice picture of himself, nice image right here too. And so he's ready to go. You also want to see what their call to action is, right? What's their call to action? His is send message, watch video, right? So we can watch the video that he wants us to watch. And so the video here is actually his webinar, it looks like. So that's actually pretty cool. I've actually never seen someone do that. And so I'm actually going to take a note to add that to my own Facebook page, and I'm going to do that really quick. So the point that I was trying to make there is when you see something cool, take note of it and then do it, right? So like we just literally added this. We can test button now, and now it opens up into our free training page when before we had send message. So I think that's actually pretty cool how they have watch video and send message like that. And so the point is take inspiration from other successful people in your niche. So what I like to do is create 5 to 10 high quality posts with eye-catching imagery or video that provide value to your niche. And it doesn't have to be original content, right? Go out, find other successful pages in your niche, share their content, credit them, right? Or find popular blog articles on Google about Amazon or whatever your niche is, share that. The point is you just don't want your Facebook page to be blank, right? You want to have a photo of yourself. You want to have a cover photo or a cover video here. And then you want to have some stuff that when people scroll, right? When people scroll, they can see all of this stuff, all these videos of you and things like that. So you remember, you just don't want it to look sketchy. You don't want it to look blank. You're a brand now, right? People are basically evaluating whether or not you look like a scam because nobody wants to buy a course from somebody that could potentially scam them and they'd have to lose money and deal with all of that stuff, right? So what they're doing is they're evaluating your Facebook page. They're evaluating your personal Facebook profile, right? Just to see if you look legit and you actually care enough to put work into your Facebook personal profile and your page profile to make sure that you're not actually a scam, right? So how do you create the About Me section, right? Because the About Me section is important on your page. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here into About section in your group. which is going to become your meta description in Google. And what you want to do is use relevant, highly searched kind of terms related to your business, and then use your company URL, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to come down here and we're going to type in something for our story here. We are going to actually input if we have a business phone number, a business email address, a business website, right? If you want to add any social media like Snapchat, YouTube, Instagram, and things like that. And you can see down here, Kevin David is an e-commerce 8-figure entrepreneur with over 10,000 students from around the world having massive success. Right? So you just want to add stuff and make sure that it's not completely blank, again, because people really are just evaluating whether or not you're a scam. How to add your call to action button, right? So we just talked about that, but it's again right here. When you are actually editing your Facebook page, once you get it set up, you can go to edit button right here. Facebook makes it very, very intuitive. Remember, they have some of the smartest people in the world trying to make this intuitive. So by far the most profitable is send message, right? Again, I just changed it to learn more just because I saw for the first time somebody doing that actually went straight to their webinar, which I thought was cool. So I'll test that for the next 2 weeks and then check back. But when you're first starting and you don't have all this set up, just have this button, go to edit button, and then have people actually contact you, right, with send message next. And then when people visit your page, they can send you a message and you're able to actually just talk to them that way. This works best if you have a customer service staff to answer questions, right? Like a $3 an hour virtual assistant that you get from Upwork.com works great because people are generally just one question away from making a purchase, and it's super, super important to kind of remember that, right? You want to be there to kind of ease their final concern or their final question before they actually take the dive and make a purchase of your course. But at first, it's probably going to be you answering all, if not most of the questions. But as quickly as possible, right, this is another really good thing that you can use a virtual assistant for, especially as you start to get more messages, right? We get 6,000 to 10,000 messages every single day on our Facebook page. And having people constantly available to answer those questions has made so much money for my company, right? Having 24/7 staff answering questions on my Facebook page is one of the single biggest conversion techniques that I use for all of my businesses. Right? And the reason for that is because people message you and they're like, oh my gosh, like you actually responded? Wow, you must really care, right? I've had so many people say that when they're messaging all these different people, trying to learn more from my competitors, and none of them actually answer questions on their Facebook page. It's a big, big deal when you do. It's so much cheaper than people think, right? For $3 an hour, you can get somebody who's fluent in English from the Philippines, add them as an editor on your Facebook page, and they can respond to messages that you get all day long, right? And a good way to get notifications on your phone, since Facebook doesn't actually make this that easy to respond from your phone, what you can do is you can download an app called the Facebook Pages app, right? On your phone, turn on post notifications for that app, and then whenever somebody messages your Facebook page, right, once you connect that app to the new page that you just created, you can actually get messages directly onto your phone, just like Facebook Messenger, but it's specifically for your page, right? And remember, page messages are not the same thing as normal messages, so they're not going to appear in your Messenger app. They will, however, show in the Facebook Pages app once you connect your page. Right, so that's how to set up your business page. Again, you're a brand now, you're a business, so people are going to look into you, right? They're going to make sure that you're not a scam. And so you want to set up your Facebook page and your personal Facebook profile to make it very clear what it is you do, what you help people with, and then to just look like you're actually a real person, creating content and things like that, and that you're very unlikely to, be a scam for some of these people. And so that is everything that I want to talk about for this video, guys. Remember, removing friction, being able to answer questions. The one last question that people have before they buy from you is extremely, extremely important. We talked about figuring out who your best ideal students are, if you have results, right, showing them, and then the 3 things that people need to know before they're going to buy from you. They need to feel like they know you, that you're genuine, and that they trust you, right, and that you actually want to help them, not that you just want to, use them to become another dollar bill. And then most importantly, 99% of people who bought my program, 10,000 plus people, did so because I seemed genuine, number 1, passionate, number 2, they could relate to my story, number 3, and that I'd given them so much value for free, they felt like they had to buy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and let's get to the next.